Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, episode 51, the Cigar City Sports Podcast. We got preseason week 1 football in the bag.
I'd like to be called the champ for the next 2 or 3 weeks of intros until the fantasy football season starts.
There's a lot of things that a lot of people want, and you don't abide by them.
Can I be called Chocolicious?
You got a much higher probability of that happening there, Chocolicious.
Yeah.
But the champ is
It's the
Factual.
dumbest name I've ever heard.
wow.
Speaking of dumb names, bro, I'm in there inputting emails for the Fantasy Football League, and then I run across Nello Rules Biatch.
Biatch.
I was like, did this guy make this on AOL when he was in the 12th?
How'd you know?
Oh, see,
How
did,
did
actually.
you know, baby?
He
Listen,
did.
consistency is key. What you see is what you get forever.
Wow. What about all the times when he doesn't rule?
I do have like another professional one. I use my wife's for that stuff.
That's good. That's good. It's probably good that you put Laura's face first. She is a good person to have represent you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really give that out to,
No, of course not. Not to us peons.
That's not what I meant at all, actually.
That's how I took it. Right, Ryan?
Yep, that's exactly how I took it.
I'm just saying the champ is here once again.
Yeah. Hey, man, listen, it's getting ready to be back into the fray, so relish it while you can for sure.
Relish. I mean, back to back.
No. Consider this season your money in the bank. I'm coming for it.
All right, so before we get into it, we have been kicking around rules. We've been kicking around a couple things for this new league. First of all, there are 2 leagues because last year there were a couple guys that wanted to get on the league and they couldn't because they weren't here. We did some in-person stuff. And then this year we had a lot more people reach out that wanted to play. And I and the boys didn't feel like we should exclude them.
I mean, they should all lose to the champ. They should all have the
also-
opportunity to lose to the champ. I understand.
Listen, I can mute you.
I was
going to
say, is it too early to mute him?
It's not. It's
Verbal
not.
timeout that ass.
So I wanted all my boys that are not here, or my girls, if you want to play, that are not here local. Let's get in. Let's get it. So we will have only 2 opportunities for champ, because I think both of you are in both leagues, right?
The champ is in both leagues.
And I'm in. Am I in both leagues?
I have no idea.
No,
I'm in League 1. Okay.
You're in League 1.
All right, so I'm in League 1 with all the locals, but I definitely should keep a close eye on League 2.
Yes, you should, because the
So
champ.
the most contentious one that we have is Ryan's implementation of no waivers.
No waivers.
Pick
Keep
your
head
folks
on the
up.
Swivel.
And pick them up.
I think that we should keep waivers for people who have busy lives that can't do the instantaneous pickup.
Now,
Or do
so
you
hold
mean
on.
guys going into the playoffs so you can pick up a guy. And
That
then
was
drop
2
him so
days
you
after
can't
the
use
waiver
him?
wire. That's his fault. He doesn't know where to watch his roster, not
Here's
mine.
the thing. So Nello definitely did that. He definitely did one of those things where he picked up somebody he had no intentions of using just to take them away from anybody else who might have needed said player. Hold on
Which
one
I'm not
second.
going to lie to you.
Before you say that,
Big brain
you're
move.
muted.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I just like implementing this rule so that can't happen.
Right.
I also like implementing the rule because it seems to make, when I've done it before, people pay more attention
Sure.
to things. When you can react immediately, people tend to pay more attention to waiver wire and all that other stuff. So
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I do think some people, if you don't have your head on a swivel, no waivers can hurt you. Now, if you draft like a boss and you have just that stacked squad, good for you.
that's what I intend
Know
to
what
do.
I'm
That's
saying?
another reason I play with no waivers.
Well, I remember last year I drafted right before and right after
Cooper
you.
Cup, God
and
damn it, that's the one that really got me.
You and I just kept stealing picks from each other. So I wonder who's going to have that role this year. Do we have the order picked out, or are we doing that today?
No, I was gonna do it randomly.
We should.
So and randomize it.
Did everybody sign into the league yet, or should we wait one more week and get people to go? Because we just released this stuff
So
last
here's
night.
Well,
what I
not
think.
everybody signed in because I still have to hit Glenn and I still have to hit Manny tonight.
Okay.
So once I get those 2 done, will be set. And
I'm
ready
just
to go.
excited. Some old victims of mine have come out of the woodworks and want a whooping this year too.
We had somebody come out of retirement, right? DJ Saylor. He says
Right.
he's retired from fantasy football, but he's coming back just to play you.
Andrew came back.
Oh, I love it.
He's taken a whooping before in other leagues to me. Now he's going to do it in this one too. Excited for that.
You were in an old league that we used to have, the Cara Flores-Wisconsin League, weren't you?
Won that.
No, you didn't.
I did too.
Oh well, I won that too. I won.
Yeah,
the
you
first
won
year.
it before me, and then I won it after you.
And then a chocolicious fellow stepped in, and these cowards
Who lost last year?
I waited all those years to finally get in, and then I get in.
That wasn't
and
my
I
fault. That was somebody else throwing a temper tantrum because he couldn't beat me.
Okay, that is also false. That is Captain Talk a Lot over here who
What?
can't shut the fuck up ever. And so it came to the point where you and Rhino, the other individual, could not shut the hell up. Neither one of you would shut your mouth, so nobody wanted to be in the league. But this year, you boys have made up. You boys have come,
That doesn't mean I'm not
come
going
to
to
the
talk shit.
table.
I can guarantee you that.
Well, it's not
It's
going to
expected.
sound good. Yeah, we know. But we're going to have it this year, and we're going to get it going. I'm excited. It's like that old. You shared it in jest because it's funny as shit. But that old meme from The Office, that used to be my life as a Bucks fan, man. No doubt about it. I'm ready to get hurt again.
Yeah.
When fantasy football comes back around, it's just time to go.
And you want to play, even though you know you're going to lose to me. I know. I understand.
Are you guys like me where you have to pick at least one player off of your squad, or do you not?
I used to be that way a lot, and now that I've noticed that if I don't pick Eagles players, I win.
Oh, whoa!
So
Get
as you
outta
know,
here.
Ryan is all about the money. I don't let the emotions get in the way of my money.
I mean, I did my first draft
Right.
a couple nights ago, and I went Devontae and Justin Jefferson.
He also took my son. A lot of people don't. Okay, I've never talked about this on air before, but Julio Jones is actually my son.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's my little baby boy, and I'm so proud of him. And now he's on my team. But you picked him up,
I followed every protocol that you would when you talk to a father to recruit his child.
And you
I
picked
asked,
up-
I texted
yeah.
him. I'm picking your son in this league. I want to know if it's okay.
Yeah,
He's like,
and you picked-
my blessings.
You picked Rashawn White too.
Woo, man, let me tell you, if there's one thing I've been following, it's Bucks camp, Eagles camp, and a
Yeah.
few other camps.
Big time.
And there is something about this kid that just tells me he's gonna get to touch the ball because he just looks really good in all assets, special teams, catching, backfield. He looks good.
So looking at the backfield, and let's look at that. Do we want to jump right into preseason?
Wait, is there anything else we want to add before? Also,
Oh.
to defend myself about the waivers, I waited till Friday to make that move. It ain't my fault. Waivers happen Wednesday. You had Wednesday, Thursday.
Hold on.
You want to sleep
Hold
on
on.
it? It's not my issue. Sorry. Just
I'm gonna wholeheartedly disagree with you. Anytime you have to take somebody off the bench so that nobody else can use them, and you don't use
for
them,
the record, it wouldn't have saved him either way.
if you don't shut the that's just a bitch move. It's what it is. If you and your squad can't play, it's a bitch move.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I would have done it too. We're talking about money on the line. Hey,
Hey, it's a bitch move.
I might do it.
It's not a bitch move. I waited 2
is.
days. I
It
waited
is.
till Friday.
Why would you put somebody in your roster you have no intentions of playing?
I waited till Friday. Well, if this
That's
person,
not what I asked.
If this person
that's
does
not what I asked
right,
you.
well, let me. If you want to know what I was thinking, I told you.
I know what you were thinking. You were thinking of taking somebody away
He's
from
quarterback.
somebody else.
I'm like, I ain't gonna let it happen. That's what I
exactly.
was thinking.
But I
Exactly.
did wait 2 days.
That's not an answer.
I mean, it technically is. It's not like I did it right out of the gate.
Okay,
And the
you're
only
just,
other
you're just
thing-
hugging the fact that this is a bitch move and saying, "Please stop talking to me about it."
Yeah,
It's pretty much what's happening.
that's what he's doing.
I don't think
okay.
it's a
All
bitch
right.
move because you
It-
said
it
you
is.
would have done it too.
Oh, done.
It's still a bitch
Still a
move.
bitch move.
I don't think it's
I'm
a
not
bitch
saying
move at
I
all,
wouldn't
but
say it
that's
if Ryan did it. I
but
just think it's a bitch
if
move.
it's cash involved.
given the person it was with, I have no bad
I'ma do
feelings, but there was a few jive words thrown my way. There was a few jive words thrown my way on appearance on one of these podcasts, and you know what? I love the jive, but
On
I back the
appearance?
jive.
On
yeah,
appearance?
when he was when this other person was here.
Who is it? Who is it?
I mean, I don't want to put out names. I think like that's just the Italian in me.
Blast his ass out.
I'm not blasting people.
I can't
He
remember-
knows who he is. All I'm gonna say is
I know who he is.
Chomper. That's all.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Chomper.
It was a bitch move, but it was more about you getting it and sticking it to Camilo.
I'm not okay. Well, I didn't drop any names. I didn't say none of that.
We love Camilo.
I love him. I love it because I love it. If it's like
I'm happy he's back.
The gasoline to the fire, baby. I love it.
Let's do it.
The only other thing I was going to say, too, is I saw a couple other people reached out, and we don't really have enough. But I'm down to start a third one if y'all are willing. So
I don't know about that. I can't do 3.
You don't have to do 3, but if we can get another 10 people to fill it, we can absolutely go.
I might be able to do one more. Maybe I could do one more. That would be 6, and that's it. I'm done. I've done 8 before. I can't.
Can you imagine him losing 6 leagues in a row?
Nah, bro, I'm usually 50-50. Because once I get to 0-4 in some leagues, I just drop them. I don't pay attention.
I gotta say, of people that I do play with consistently, Nello is the most successful player I've played with.
Wow.
I mean, in every league that I've played in with him, I have won and he has won. So only one I haven't won in yet was obviously the Cigar City Sports because it was the inaugural year.
But you also had injury problem last year.
I had hot. And somebody...
I'm so glad that you did in the beginning because at the end you got hot as shit.
Somebody was handcuffing my boy Tony Pollard.
It only would have got worse if
you want to know if you really want to get to the bitch move of that whole last year. It was me convincing him not to trade you, Tony Pollard.
You couldn't have convinced him anything. Money was involved, and he wasn't going to give me an ace because I already had Zeke.
Yeah, and I was sitting on him too, waiting. But
he was waiting for Zeke to go down.
The right offer.
Yeah. Not even the right offer. Honestly, man, a lot of my struggles came with my running backs last year.
I got to say, I offered you something once a week, I think. Something like that.
And I was like, no.
Or every other day I'd be messaging like, you know what everybody's saying is drop Tony Pollard.
If we're going to talk about this fantasy before we get into anything, the other big rule he wants to do besides the waivers is what is it? Tight end, wide receiver,
tight
flex
end, wide receiver
position.
Flex.
As opposed to having a straight tight end.
Yeah. What about the super flex instead?
No, I like the tight end wide receiver flex, especially because this is a wide receiver league. Anybody who tells you different is a fucking liar.
Yeah.
And there are a lot more successful wideouts than successful tight ends. So I'm a part of that because there's room for everyone to succeed.
Yeah.
Because let's think about it. There's Kelsey, Andrews, Waller, and then what?
Kittle,
kind of,
and
and Kittle, and then kind of a steep drop off.
Goddard,
who's consistent every year and puts up big numbers.
Right.
It's not there.
Goddard,
you shut
Earth to Goddard
front door.
No, it's fine. You can have him.
He can be your. Cuss.
He would be 5. I would put him at 5 or 6 range in fantasy football.
Sure, you can have him.
All right, he's delusional.
With Gronk gone for sure.
Hawkinson would be 5 and Goddard would be 6.
Hawkinson's a great pick, but I'm not somebody who's going to sit there. Because if you look at Hawkinson and then you look at some of these third wide receivers, their numbers are going to be better.
Yeah.
So basically, whoever drafts the 4 best receivers is going to win the league.
That basically
not necessarily.
Just means, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It does mean people are going to be very wide receiver heavy.
Yeah.
Could be.
Which could open up for some sleeper tight ends. I like it. I like it a lot.
I think so too because I don't see with a lot of leagues because there's always one Travis Kelce getting outside of the top 10.
Who's going to be a keeper in my other league?
Way. That's a great keeper.
Derrick Henry and Travis Kelce.
How did that work out?
Because we are allowed to keep 2. It's in the league that me and John Buffalo play in. For the restaurant, we keep keepers.
Me and John Buffalo.
Yeah, he's a Buffalo Bills guy.
Didn't he just sound like the most Indian guy you ever met in your life?
Oh, I watched Prey last night.
Me and John Buffalo stood by the fire and talked about Derrick Henry as a keeper.
No, I told him we play in a league together, and that's the 2 people I'm keeping. Never keep quarterbacks.
What'd you think of Prey?
That was good.
We did the Alter Ego podcast yesterday, and Prey was the subject matter, episode 117.
16?
I don't know, 16. Go check that out.
15.
Well, what'd you think of Prey? Was it did we do it justice in our description?
Yeah, I think we did. We did pretty good.
Did you see what I was talking about?
I can see what you were talking about, but I can also see the time period being what it is during the Louisiana Purchase type shit.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do, what you guys talked about, I do like how it opens up for more. Like bigger, badder predators coming down.
It really opens up the lore.
It's like, whoa, this guy just went down. There's something badass down there. We're coming to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, something killed one of the feral predators. Let's go.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get back to it.
Speaking of sleeper tight ends.
Yeah, let's do it.
Robert Tonyan. Now, Robert Tonyan is a tight end that's been like sleeking under because of the injuries.
In Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay.
Yeah.
But who's going to catch the ball in the red zone in Green Bay? You really going to give it to Sky Moore or Watson?
They don't even really use the tight ends like that, bro.
I'm saying Aaron Jones is that guy. I think Aaron Jones is going to be a red zone X factor because he has some of the best hands in the entire league at that position. And I think he's a do-it-all running back. Aaron Jones, to me, if I'm building the perfect running back, like I love Derrick Henry. I love the fact that he can truck people, he can do anything. But if I'm building the perfect back, it's Aaron Jones.
I'm thinking I'm sticking with Henry.
Dual threat back, yeah, I agree. Where who can catch the ball and run the ball efficiently, sure. But there's Henry's a different
I'm
breed.
talking about the way I would run my offense on my team.
I know exactly what you mean.
Like downhill, it's Derrick Henry for sure. Now, if you're looking for somebody who has Aaron Rodgers at quarterback and you can't just be the downhill guy and you need to be able to do more, Aaron Jones is your guy. Aaron Jones is going to be a top pick.
That's why you got a different running back to hop in there.
So we're drafting. You get, let's say, I'll give you pick 2.
Okay.
I'll give you pick 3.
No.
It had Derrick Henry's on the board at 2. Are you taking him or are you going somewhere else? And if he said doesn't take him.
That depends at who's won.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan Taylor is consensus number 1 in standard leagues.
I was going to say, if
Superflex.
somebody doesn't take him, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor.
So it's either if Henry's there, 2.
Yeah.
You don't think that's too high coming off an injury like that?
No.
You don't think
I don't.
he could be breaking down a little bit? Because, I mean, the rock he's had to carry for 5 years has been very heavy.
Hand me that. I want to take a look. Because there's a lot of guys that I think could be, and are we PPR?
Yes, PPR.
Full point?
Full point.
See, at that point, I might think in Austin Eckler at 2.
I was about to say, there's a lot of decisions to be had. So I've got the ESPN Fantasy Football Guide here in front of me. Let's take a look. Let's go to wide receivers and all that kind of stuff.
So let's say he does. Let's for hypothetical.
Okay.
He doesn't take.
Here's
Henry.
running backs. Hey, picture number 1, Jonathan Taylor, with a beautiful man behind him there, Mr. Vita Vea.
So that means as he was running by him.
That's not a good picture.
I don't give a
That's
shit.
not what you
Vita
want to
Vea.
see as the D tackle.
Okay, so this is for position previews. This is overall. I don't think this is just PPR. Number 2 is not Derrick Henry. He's not even number 3.
Nope.
It's 4.
So they've got Jonathan Taylor going at number 1. They've got Christian McCaffrey at number 2, which I got to tell you, I love Christian McCaffrey.
No fucking way.
I've had him, but there's no way.
There's no way I'm taking him at 2.
The only way I'm taking that move for Christian McCaffrey is if he gets to the 6, 7, 8s or something like that, and I'm there. Because there's a lot of other guys, one of which is a guy that I would look at because he's going to be everything for this team, Najee Harris out of Pittsburgh.
At 3 or 2?
No, I'm just saying I'm looking him as an early pick.
See, I'm taking
because last
Henry
year
at
I
3.
got him, and he was a monster.
I'm taking Derrick Henry at 1.
No.
Austin Eckler is slated as the number 3 fantasy running back.
I would do Christian McCaffrey's out of my top 4. I'd have to take him at 5 or 6 because at that point it's like, do I want to take the best running back available or do I want to start drafting receivers? And I didn't. I took receivers in my other draft. I did Devontae and Jefferson back to back.
Let me ask you this: you taking Leonard Fournette or Miles Sanders?
Neither.
No. I'm saying of the 2, who are you picking?
I think Leonard Fournette loses his job just like Miles. Will he keep it longer? Sure. I think Rachaad White takes the fucking starting job from
think
Leonard Fournette.
The Rook is going to come in and take the job from playoff Lenny?
I'm not saying he's not going to be good. It could be an injury. It could be something the kid can ball.
I mean, honestly,
he can. I see the talent for sure.
I know it's only preseason and I'm making a big deal about him, but some of these rookies have some very interesting roles. And if you're talking about wide receiver dominance, like you say in fantasy, it might be. It's just a thing. It might be a good thing to take receivers one at round 1 and 3 or 1 and 2, and then load up with running backs at 4 or 5.
Listen,
and so on and so forth.
There are 3 running backs that if they're off the board, maybe 4. If they're off the board, you should be looking wide receiver.
That's
because
typically
then
what I
Taylor,
do.
the value's gonna drop off. Taylor being number 1, obviously. If you're number 1,
even though I don't like it,
I
don't like it, but that's consensus with all these experts.
See, and that's weird because he's only had out of 2 years, he's had 1 1,000-yard good season.
But he also comes out. He's coming out of he has a really weak 6-game schedule in the AFC South.
Well, not to mention, he's also got Matty Ice, and that helps him. It's a net gain for Jonathan Taylor because last year they had Carson Wentz, and they did not have people that wanted to play for Carson Wentz, that wanted to stick around and play through injury. Now you got Matty Ice, who's got playoff experience. He's got Super Bowl experience. He's
talking
got
about the
game
guy
knowledge.
who blew the biggest lead in playoff.
His name.
That wasn't his fault. He wasn't calling the fucking plays.
His name is not Dan Quinn, is what I was going to tell you.
Hey, nah, fuck that audible, bro. We're just gonna run the ball.
No, Shanahan was the call. He was calling the offense.
We're gonna run the ball.
Dan Quinn's the head coach. It falls to him. But either way, I think guys like T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman
Michael
are
Pittman
going
Jr.
to,
big target.
are going to open up some opportunities for him more so than Derrick
T.Y.
Henry.
is so washed though.
He is,
but you don't
he's
need him to
still
carry the load. You
yeah.
just need him to hit a deep bomb once a game.
And so that's what I'm saying is, with them having more options in Indy than Derrick Henry has, because when you face the Titans, other than the kid out of Arkansas,
Treylon, who hasn't had the greatest
Burks.
Yeah, Burks.
But
who hasn't had the greatest
I just think
preseason
that
training camp.
That people are going to still key in and disrespect guys like Treylon Burks by not paying him the attention they should.
I don't think that's the case. I just think out of the AFC South, if you look at it, the Colts are the more built to win.
I think the Colts are going to be the Bengals of last year. I think the Colts are going to be that team that are going to go in and have, I don't know about Super Bowl, but I mean, they're going to surprise people and they're going to go to the playoffs. They're going to go and maybe even win the first round.
Yeah. I might be a little salty. I drafted him his rookie year thinking he was going to do his thing.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Dameon
fucking
Pierce in
bum.
Houston.
Oof.
Don't sleep on Dameon Pierce in Houston as a running back.
Here's the thing:
on.
when you mention Houston, I will sleep on Houston.
Okay.
I love the Texans, but when you have minimal options, these NFL defenses are going to key on you, and that's going to take away your options. That's what makes Jonathan Taylor, I think, the clear number one. Now let's go to wide receivers. What is it, Devontae Adams? Yeah, I mean it's got to be
anybody.
No, it's
anybody
Cooper
willing to take
Cooper
a nice
Kupp.
crispy
Cooper
dollar
Kupp is
bet?
number one. On what?
My boy Henry outperforms Jonathan Taylor.
I'm not answering.
In
$1.
terms of
Okay.
Rushing yards?
Yeah.
No,
What are we
I'm not
talking
going to take
about?
that. I'm not going to take that. You're absolutely right.
Rushing yards. Overall.
Okay.
Shit, that's close.
So the round one
I couldn't make that
consensus.
bet.
What an advertisement for LSU, because the number one consensus are Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, and then
If I'm sitting
Devontae's
there,
4.
it's Jamar. I like Jamar.
No, Cooper Kupp is a proven commodity. He catches everything in his radius, and he's got a football IQ better than all those guys put together. If you ask me,
I don't know about that. I don't think that's fair to say.
just saying.
I don't know if he's got the better IQ. Surely he
No.
rattled off
Football
the
IQ.
no shit. That's what
Okay,
we're
well,
talking.
I just want to be clear.
Just because he rattled off that play to the reporter, I don't think that necessarily gives him a better football
Right?
IQ.
I was like, people are super impressed by that. I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
it's literally just calling the play. You have an option.
I mean,
what you're
and
supposed to do.
that's what I'm
it.
saying is it's just the way that he articulated that. Sure, that was great, but people don't talk like that in normal sports news. For him to come out there and give them football jargon and talk plays, people were like, "Oh my God, it's Albert Einstein." But I bet you that a good amount of wide receivers in the league can do that.
Oh,
they can look
absolutely.
and go, "Okay, I know exactly what they did there," because that's their job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like any of us in what we do, we can go back and go, oh yeah, I remember this. This is what happened here. That's what they do.
So let me ask you a question.
It's one of the reasons why Sherman was a pretty decent
Devontae
cornerback.
last year was the number one wide receiver
Yeah.
in fantasy football from last year ranked, and now he went to 4th. Is that a Rodgers effect because he's not there?
No, I don't think so.
That's because
Is
he
it
ended
because
up on
he
the
left,
Raiders.
or is it because they just have no faith in Derek Carr? Because again,
It's-
not to talk about my other draft, I handcuffed him with Derek Carr, thinking that's the best.
It's because
decision.
now that he's in Las Vegas, he has options.
right.
Devontae Adams isn't the only target like he pretty much was in Green Bay.
Well, now he's sharing.
Now he's got
the field with Darren Waller,
Hunter
And
Renfro.
Hunter Renfro,
Like,
Edwards is not a bad target either.
and Josh Jacobs out of the
Yeah.
backfield. And People keep saying, I said this when we covered the AFC West. I think the Raiders are going to outpace the Broncos.
Yeah,
I could see that
easily
happening with all the Broncos injuries again.
I don't think the Broncos are there. Russell Wilson doesn't do that for me. He's not a guy that when he shows up, I'm like, oh my God, we're going to the Super Bowl.
You know what's funny is, honestly, I'm going to say Russell Wilson is probably one of those quarterbacks that I think really got made by circumstance.
Yeah.
He had the Legion of Boom behind him that put up and kept people from scoring.
I don't think that's
No, hold on.
that's
Hold
wrong.
on. Let me fucking finish.
I got you, but that's fucking wrong.
It's not wrong. It's your fucking opinion. Shut the fuck up.
He also had a beast in Marshawn Lynch who can control a clock in a game. And then he had a deep threat in Tyler Lockett. And what's his face? The other boy who retired right beforehand. I can't remember his name, but
A wide receiver that retired?
He retired. He was the one who took Lockett took his spot.
Oh my God. Hold on.
He was the dude who started to blow up towards the end, like a lot. And
Okay.
but I think and they had a pretty solid offense offensive line until they got rid of him. Notice once all those people started to leave, Russell started struggling.
Doug Baldwin.
Baldwin, yes. They started struggling hard. So I don't see him going with essentially a new team. I mean,
Jerry Jeudy
doing the
is
same
his
thing.
biggest target there.
And he just left DK Metcalf
You guys
and
are
Tyler
sleeping on
Lockett.
Cortland Sutton again.
No, I'm not. He's just not the same caliber as DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
You can't look at me with a straight face and tell me that Cortland Sutton.
What the hell has DK really done? I know he's good, but
Been
what's
an
he really
athletic
done?
freak who
Jerry
is
Jeudy
also-
hasn't had a quarterback that could throw him the ball.
I'm just saying
And Cortland Sutton is nothing to be slept on.
he's the only guy on his team. And then you look at the Broncos, Jerry Jeudy's still a kid. He was a rookie last year. I'm not comparing him to DK Metcalf because Metcalf has been a proven commodity. He just got paid like one. He's got the physique like one. He's got a lot of things going for him. And Denver doesn't have that. They had Noah Fant. Didn't they trade him? So he was the other big piece to the puzzle, and now you're going to bring in Russ and just hope that you're going to glide off of his name. But look at guys like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers makes the people around him. It doesn't really matter who's on the team. He ends up making it to the playoffs every year because of the people around him. And Russell Wilson has a somewhat similar situation and doesn't do that. He doesn't take the Seahawks to the playoff and make them perennial contenders off of him alone. He needs help.
He does. No, don't get me wrong. He puts up numbers, and I've drafted him time and time again, and he has carried me time and time again. So I'm not just shitting on Russ as he can't play. But I don't
saying that.
Not at all. But what I'm saying is you're not going to get a guy like that to just go into Denver, and he's just going to carry him and put him on his back. It's not going to happen.
He did that in Seattle all year with a shit cast not last year. He hasn't had an offensive line in 3 years.
And when was they?
And they're still winning 6-7 games a year.
And when was the last time they were in
Hold
the
on.
playoffs?
6-7 games a year?
How many games did
Are
he win
you
last
saying
year?
that that's a good record, 6 or 7 games?
Out of that NFC West at this point in time?
It doesn't matter. 6 games is a shit season.
Have you seen their roster?
Are you going to answer the question or dance around stupid crap? I'm telling you,
No,
6
what
games
I'm
is a
saying,
loser.
He is directly responsible for winning 5-6 games.
They
with
won
his
7
talent.
games last year. They were 7 out of 10, dead last in their division.
Because that team, A, injuries, B, no offensive line.
Okay.
And he has an offensive line. I'm not saying he's going to outshine Carr. I don't think anybody outshines Herbert.
Hey, you know
in
who
that
didn't have an
division.
offensive line and won MVP a few years ago? Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
That wasn't because
You're
of
going to tell me
him
that,
being his
that
pocket quarterback. That's because he's a freak of nature athlete. Overall.
Russ Wilson does the
Overall.
same thing.
that's
Nah, Russ is
Wilson's,
not
that's Russ's
Lamar.
claim to fame is throwing on the run.
Throwing on the run, but
And
we're
also
talking
scrambling and
athletic.
running.
Scrambling? No, Lamar is on a different plane when it comes to scrambling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
He
that's
is.
true.
He is.
Who's got the better
let's
arm?
be
It is.
real.
Who's got the better arm, Nello?
Are we talking like accuracy or
We are
deep?
talking about who's got the better arm.
I would take Russell Wilkins
okay,
because of his
and
accuracy.
he's known for running on playing on the run, right?
Right.
So it doesn't matter who's faster. He's able to make plays go longer and then throw the ball down the field. That's Russ's thing. And yet Lamar Jackson cannot throw it as well, and he was able to do more with less. So that's what we're saying. I don't know where you're coming from on this, but Russell Wilson is not going to be the guy. I'm not targeting Russell Wilson in the draft. That's for damn sure.
No, I didn't target him any years, but I think Denver will be better. I just think there's a sniper in Denver that's just taking out wide receiver ACLs every year.
I don't know. I'm just saying I don't see the whole Russell Wilson hype.
By the way, speaking of Denver, I hope they come get Jalen Reagor. He's for free.
Is he a free agent now?
No, he's still on the Eagles, but I mean, I'm sure they could offer us like a Russell Wilson jersey signed by Sierra or something, and we would definitely take that. We don't really need much. I mean, Reagor doesn't need to be on our team.
Yeah, I was actually going through Bleacher Report the other day, and they had the one player that every team should trade, and that was your guys' guy.
Like, I'm not sure why he's still
Reagor.
there. We got rid of JJ Arcega-Whiteside to Seattle for a guy they were going to cut. We were going to cut
Arcega-Whiteside. Everyone was talking about him last year.
That was the guy Howie drafted before Justin Jefferson.
Everybody was talking about him.
I mean, not Justin Jefferson, DK.
Gotcha.
They chose him over DK, and that was a big mistake.
That was a smart move.
Yes, I know.
I mean, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people that you just look at. If I just saw DK Metcalf, I'm taking him. I don't care. What does he do? I'm picking him.
He's
that
of
guy
college,
that if you're looking at players physically, you're like, yeah, he can play.
Yep,
Look at him.
So the next thing I want to ask you, at fantasy wise, we looked at I watched a little bit of the Patriots Giants game.
So did I.
And the Patriots offense looks confused. Does that make sense? I don't know if they just seem like it looked to me like two people were calling plays. One half was Patricia, the second half was somebody else, and they just didn't look like they were getting it going.
I don't think this.
Granted, no Mac Jones, no Devontae Parker, none of the big guys.
That's what I was gonna say. There's no big guys, and it's not. This is not the game to start looking at the Patriots. I would never look at a team's backups and say, "Ooh, they're going to be bad this year," because those guys, maybe one or two of them will be fill-in guys during the game.
The Giants did start their starters, though. What did you guys think of Danny Dimes when he's on his last Hail Mary, as they call it?
The Giants, we'll see. I mean, there's no Saquon. There's nobody out there to do anything big for them. Did Thibodeau play from Oregon?
I think he might have had a snap or two on defense.
Did he do anything?
I didn't hear anything of importance.
Yeah, I think he's going to get his dick smashed in the league.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of your boy Hutchinson, and people were praising him. I'm like, bro, he's playing against like third team.
He did a good rendition of Thriller.
Okay. Let's. I mean, in terms of the Giants and the Patriots, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell for any of them. It's hard to tell at any of these games this early on. But I'll tell you what, I
never watched preseason.
Yeah,
I watched this week because this week's starters are supposed to get like at least a quarter.
Well, they've got to. Yeah. They've got to, because now you only have 3 games. So we're going to see important people playing this week. You're going to see some of the starters take a series or 2. You know what I mean? But what I was going to say is the guy who impressed me the most in terms of preseason play was
Leon Sandcastle.
Not Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts had a fucking game.
Had a great game.
That kid went 6 for 6, 80 yards, touchdown. That is
respect.
If I am an Eagles fan in that scenario, I'm sitting there just getting the golf clap ready. Like, okay, keep that up, young man. But I'm going with Kenny Pickett.
Who they play?
Kenny Pickett showed out, and he showed up and showed out.
I mean, his hands were too small.
Who did Philly play?
Yeah,
Jets.
The Jets. We lost in the second half. It was 14-3 at halftime.
Again, that means nothing.
In the preseason, it doesn't mean shit.
To me, it means nothing.
I don't think wins or loses in the preseason mean shit.
They don't, because there's like think about it this year. I talked to a buddy of mine who's a Colts fan, and last year they were 3-0 in the preseason, and then went 0-3 to start the year. Preseason means nothing. But in terms of guys showing up and looking good and doing what they're supposed to do, Kenny Pickett, he came into the game, he showed his legs, he showed his arm, he really had himself a good showing.
Well, if we're going to talk about who we really liked showed up in the preseason game 1, I'm sorry, but your boy, Malik Willis, balled out. You look great. He looked great. I know that Vrabel's talking about hesitant and throwing the ball first instead of running.
Yeah.
I thought that's a great facet of the game. That's what kept them in drives. That's what kept the ball moving. He got a touchdown with his legs.
He did.
But see, you're a quarterback, and you've got a guy that, like Treylon Burks, that they traded the fucking farm for. You need to see what the kid can
I
do.
don't know about trading the farm, but okay.
I'm sorry, but going 6 out of 11, I mean, it's not terrible. I'm really not saying that he did bad. He did good. But I'm not picking him as somebody who stole the show.
No.
He certainly didn't do that. He didn't go out there and command that offense.
No, I mean, I
wouldn't say that either.
I was like, oh, he had a nice little run. I saw it. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
He got a little something to him. But I've seen Tannehill do that too. It's not a big deal for me. I would have liked to see him throw the ball, see what he could do.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you feel not giving up the farm, but would you give up your second best offensive player for a rookie?
If you weren't going to sign him and you were going to lose him anyways, at that point, you make the most of what you got.
I agree with that. And I think Malik, I don't think he was the best player available to pick. If he was the direct result of that trade, I think in a couple of years he might be that guy.
Does Tannehill have to worry if he starts slipping in the first couple games?
If Vrabel is the coach I think he is, he should not be worried at all.
Even if they start 0-2, 0-3?
No. This trend in the league of panicking and abandoning your veteran starters shows everybody on your entire squad, listen, we don't care about you. You come out here, you don't do what you're supposed to do, which, hey, it's a business. I get that. I understand. I'm just saying if I'm a coach and there's somebody out there on the field with a C on their chest because the team believes in them and they start having a couple of bad plays. And here's another thing. A lot of fans like to look at the game in terms of, Tannehill had a bad game. Do they look at drops? Do they look at pressures happening to the quarterback? Do they look at the outside factors?
The intangibles?
They don't. They say, he went, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, man, that's what I keep telling you about my boy Jameis, man. He balled out. 30 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. Shit.
He also threw 33 picks that time.
How did those picks happen?
Picks?
That's all I'm saying, bro.
They weren't throwing to the wrong damn thing.
They weren't all his fault, but a lot of them were.
That's all I'm saying. My boy balled out.
2/3 were.
I'm going to eat a W for that.
Was he like trying to complete completions to the other team too? Like, what is it? His team completions weren't good enough?
Man was so hot, he was just throwing the ball to everybody. You know what I mean?
That's not the objective of the game.
Let's take a real quick break, and then I want to talk about somebody who I thought had just an absolute terrible preseason. This was his opportunity to show what he could do.
This is this mom spaghetti moment, huh?
Yeah, and anyway, we'll be right back. And we're back.
All right, so I want to run this backwards like Miles Sanders is going to do this season.
If he has a job.
And about the Tannehill's job being in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Don't see that happening. Mike Vrabel knows he just lost his best wide receiver by far, and he's got a rookie that he's got to get into the league. Tannehill ain't in trouble.
No, he's fine.
They're just going to try to work things a little different and see what happens with this kid and hope he develops.
Yeah.
For us, it's almost like a soft rebuild, bro, honestly. Because defensively, we lost a lot of people. Offensively, we lost a lot of people. It's not good.
Yeah. You guys are not, I don't think, going to be the kings of the AFC South.
I don't think so either.
I think it'll definitely be between you and the Colts, though.
And
barring,
if we do
barring injury.
get there, it's definitely going to be riding the 2-2 train.
Yeah, for sure.
All day long.
But at the same time, you need to ride that train, but you cannot continue to run him like you have.
No.
He can't run 25 times a game, expect him to go 17 games in the playoffs.
No.
At some point, he's just going to have to break down.
I mean, at that point, we saw it last year, he is breaking down. And I'm going to liken his workload to somebody like Julio Jones in Atlanta, who said now that he's starting to feel healthy, that like this is the first time ever he's actually made an opportunity to try to heal and get back to where he needs to be. And
Too bad he forfeited last season to do that.
That's right.
Fuck you, Julio.
That's right, he did.
When I see you, bro, it's on site.
Don't talk about my son like
on
that.
Site. I will put him over my knee and spank him.
I'll have to step in and save my son.
I'm going to have to do that because my fantasy football team has him as a flex right away.
But what were you going to say?
Before we get into pewter and black or whatever the hell those colors are.
Which we aren't.
What other game in the preseason did you guys see that you were like, I liked what this looked like. I liked how this went. Without mentioning players, even just like, or what game were you the most excited for since football finally came back.
I wasn't excited for any of them. I was excited to see football on the TV, period. The game that I watched Buffalo and Indy. I watched the Patriots and the Giants. I watched the Bucks and the Dolphins and Atlanta and Detroit and a little bit of KC Chicago.
What did you think of Ritter?
The one that was the best game that I wanted to watch, that there was a team that really impressed the shit out of me, was Green Bay, San Francisco. And Green Bay was not the team that impressed the shit out of me. Jordan Love throws 3 picks, very indecisive, did not look like he was comfortable. And I don't know if that was a factor of San Francisco being at home and doing what San Francisco does and having a good defense, which they did.
And I know who your boy 26 is, but he got him twice in a row.
Yeah. And it was not good. And I just could see that Trey Lance was kind of crumbling. And this is a guy who...
Ooh, crumbling, huh?
Yeah, it didn't look good. I mean, he had a couple of garbage touchdowns where as the game went on, he's getting against lesser and lesser strings. And, yeah, he scored a couple. But, I mean, he averaged 7 yards per attempt. And he only completed 13 out of 24.
Ooh, 50%.
It's not great.
No.
So... I mean, he just didn't look like he was comfortable. And then his backup comes in 6 for 8 with a touchdown. And his rating is 156.3, and Love's was 66 even.
So I did not watch that game.
Yeah, it was a bad game.
I watched part of it.
So
clips of it.
You got a, would you say, second-year guy in Jordan Love, third-year guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Trey Lance, who really didn't play last year. I don't think we can. I think this would be his official
Trey
rookie
Lance
year,
did not
even though he was a
play,
rookie last year.
But even the broadcast was saying everybody at Candlestick, everybody in San Francisco on the team knows and is bought in that Trey Lance is the guy. And therein lies the difference. Because Jordan Love came in, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2. I think this is his third year.
And Lance came in last year. Lance came in, went 4 for 5 with a touchdown, one of which being a bomb. And it was a beautiful throw. There were levels because you would expect somebody sitting behind
the greatest, right?
Aaron Rodgers,
the second greatest,
to come in
stat
and
pattern.
Look amazing. And then you have this guy who sat behind Jimmy G and sat behind Lord knows who coming in and just balling out.
I think that's just some of his talent too, which is another reason
He's got great talent.
They took him and they expected him to start over Jimmy G. I hear Aaron Rodgers is an asshole and nobody likes him. Like his team does not.
That's true.
I've heard from and seen it on whatchamacallit, that from a high management guy, that those guys really don't like him at all. The only reason they do get him paid. Because then they get paid
to Hollywood or what?
He's a selfish person, apparently. He's very selfish.
He's a quarterback.
Well, not all quarterbacks are super selfish. You know what I mean?
But it's a chip on their shoulder. Like, to be really good, you have to have a chip. It's like
Tom
your
Brady
ace
looks
pitcher.
selfish to you?
No, Tom Brady's
Not selfish, but he does have
all
a
right,
chip.
so you can't say
it's a humble chip, but he knows he's the
You're
best.
also comparing the wrong people here. Tom Brady's one of one, but you look at general quarterbacks.
Fair.
I mean,
some of them are, yeah.
They can be divas.
Yeah, they can.
The only more of a diva position on the NFL football field is wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
or maybe corner.
Ball.
Or maybe corner.
Yo, how about Antonio Brown coming out saying Jerry Jones holler at your boy?
Nobody cares what Antonio Brown
He's
says
like, I
anymore.
want to play with you guys. We'll win
If
the Super
Antonio
Bowl.
Brown called tomorrow and said, hey, I want to be on the Cigar City Sports Podcast.
It's like, hey, nah, we're good, bro.
That's not true at all, and you know it.
I mean,
We'll put him on. I'll pick his brain. It'll be fun.
anyway.
Hey, bro, does your right hand work? Yeah, because you're going to be signing the shit out of some shit.
No, but
Can you sign and talk at the same time? I hope so.
do you think it's a tell sign for Jordan Love not being the guy who's going to take over in Green Bay if he can't even get it together in a first preseason game?
This was a moment to come out and represent Green Bay and either say, hey, y'all want to stick with me? We're going to see, because he's going to be playing a lot next game too.
See,
so
the
maybe
thing
he
was-
turns it around, but this was not a good showing.
But they've already pretty much said that they know that he's not the guy. They made a mistake.
Right.
So he's really got nothing to lose, which is kind of
Right.
Except for his
his
job.
position that he should have killed it.
You said
know
you
what I mean?
watched Atlanta. Did you watch Atlanta?
I saw a little bit of that.
I saw
think.
highlights.
I watched
highlights,
a
yeah.
lot of Atlanta, yeah.
What do you think of Riddler?
Desmond Ridder?
Yeah, the guy from Cincinnati.
I think he is exactly what I thought he was. He is a Cincinnati quarterback who had too much hype, and he looked like it. He made me so happy watching him fumble around and not knowing when to throw and when to run. And you were the first person to say, oh, he had that great Hail Mary to win the game. If you saw the ball, it was a terrible ball. The wide receiver saw it in air, made the adjustment to come back and catch it. It was an any man's ball, and it wasn't that damn far down the field. I don't think Desmond Ridder at this stage as a rookie, coming from a program like Cincinnati, coming to a pro football program in Atlanta, is A, ready for that position, and B, I don't think he's got the physical talent to be a pro NFL quarterback. And that's not just because he's an Atlanta guy. I mean, I don't see it. Marcus Mariota looked better. Marcus Mariota looked good. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Mariota was running down the field. He was making good decisions. He was throwing it when he needed to throw it, running it when he needed to run it, ran it in for a touchdown. Desmond Ridder did not.
I mean, do you expect any less from the quarterback who threw the ball for a touchdown to himself to beat Tom Brady in the playoffs? Come on now, put some respect on Mariota's name.
There you go. You can have that.
Another former Tennessee Titan.
Yeah, no, his problem though was his decision making.
Right.
That's one of the biggest things with Mariota. Is he would not let that ball fly. You could have 2 steps on him. He's like, I'm going to hold on to it, take a sack.
That's the difference too, right?
Yeah.
In some of these quarterbacks, like you got guys, we'll look on one side of the spectrum, we'll look at the Aaron Rodgerses, the Josh Allens. They see an opening, they throw the ball. Done. And they throw it on a rope and they throw it where it needs to be. And then you got guys like Jameis had this problem. Mariota has this problem, and Kyle Trask had this problem on Monday. Is they see it and they go, in that moment that they're being indecisive.
Jalen had it too last year.
Is the moment that these NFL cornerbacks are elite level athletes, and they see that you've got it, and they're like, okay, I need to either catch up because I know he's thinking about my guy,
or disrupt the play.
Right. That's how you beat NFL quarterbacks or NFL cornerbacks is you make that decision. You see it, boom. Don't give them time to react, because any pro corner, unless you got a freak at wide receiver, is going to see what you're doing, and if you hesitate, they're going to make you pay.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I want to say he actually might have had his little short tenure, maybe 2 or 3 different coaches that we went through, because we went through.
Oh, and your boy Aiden Hutchinson got a good little tackle for loss.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
He had an interesting play. He wasn't taking over the game, but no rookies took over.
So Michael Irvin came out and said that if they picked up those personal fouls and those penalties flags, that they would be a Super Bowl champion team.
Sure.
Are we on the Michael Irvin, something's definitely impairing my judgment, we are a Super Bowl team, or do you buy the hype?
Listen here, Michael Irvin used to do a lot of cocaine.
Probably still does.
I'm not, no, bro. Michael liked to party.
Okay.
I'm not believing that.
Here we go. Here's that closet Cowboy fan coming out.
Yeah. You're about to hear it.
I can't wait. So excited.
This is not about the Dallas Cowboys. You look at almost any team in the league. You eliminate penalties, you play better.
I know. We eliminate penalties against the Bucs. We'll beat them too last year.
That's it. If you eliminate penalties and you don't give the other team yardage, you fucking win. Now, is Dallas going to be an undefeated team and win the Super Bowl? No. Under no circumstances. They don't have enough weapons. I'll go Dumb and Dumber. They don't have enough money. They got no food. They got no jobs. Their pets' heads are falling off. They got no money to eat. They got no money to sleep. They ain't trying to go undefeated on anybody.
And they got the Black Kirk Cousins.
And they got Michael Gallup, who
will not be ready by week 1.
Excellent player, but he can't stay on the field. CeeDee Lamb, excellent. Can't do it all. We saw it.
Dalton Schultz doesn't want to be there because he doesn't have an extension.
I mean, all you got is Zeke, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, and Dak Prescott. And then
Schwartz is a good tight end.
You've got the defense, which has Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And Why is his name
DeMarcus
eluding me?
Lawrence?
Marcus Lawrence,
The corner.
From
Trayvon
Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon, whatever.
Trayvon Diggs. You got those two guys. And Diggs, if he gets this same amount of picks that he did last year, I'll be baffled.
I don't know. I saw him get burned in training camp. I'm just saying.
You saw him get burned last year. He got burned in game last year.
He's a ball hawk, though.
I was going to say, when you're a ball hawk, you're typically going to get burned a lot more than
because it's a lot of risk reward.
Exactly.
Because he's always going up for the ball. Now, lucky for him, he has great hands.
Yeah, and when you catch it and run with it, coach ain't gonna ding you too much. You get beat on one. That's all right.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Because I'm telling you, if I had a corner that gave me 8 interceptions in a season or more, do what you got to do, bro.
Unless your name is Aaron Donald on defense.
But are you going to get the same animal in Aaron Donald now that he's not as hungry because he's got a ring?
What makes you think he's not as hungry?
I just think
not as hungry.
I just think Super Bowl hangover is real.
Have you seen that man?
I'm not saying he's not a bad man.
I think if somebody looked at Aaron Donald and said, "Hey, bro, I bet you can't eat that steel ball," he'll look at you and go, 2 bites.
Facts.
He's that guy. He's that guy. He is not going to go out there and be diet Aaron Donald. I'm sorry.
I had more mad respect for this dude when I watched him train, and he did the thing with kitchen knives. Like the people have kitchen knives that they're swinging at him, and he's using his hands to keep them away. I'm like, this guy's in practice, and they're allowed.
I think that's it. I think that was a gimmick. I think that was a JJ Watt back when he was on Hard Knocks, getting up at 4 a.m. and staying until 6 because the cameras were there.
After week 1 of preseason, we still think the Rams are the team to beat in the West, NFC West, I should say. We obviously know Drew Lock and Seattle are the greatest team out there, but they're going to be
don't sleep on Drew Lock, but they're still dead last in that division.
Agreed.
No, I think you got to watch out for San Francisco. I think San Francisco has a lot going for them, but it's going to be hard for the Rams to repeat what they did last year. They kept a lot of the good parts, and they actually, I think, got better at wide receiver.
You think Allen Robinson is better than OBJ?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Allen Robinson needs to show me because, as you said, what did he do last year or in other years on your fantasy team?
Nothing.
There you go.
Where was he?
Chicago.
And before that?
No,
Chicago.
I caught it when he was in Jacksonville.
And before that, I had him in Jacksonville. And he had something to do in Jacksonville.
He did.
That first season.
I'll tell you what, in his first season in Chicago, he showed out too because I had him on fantasy. But after that, Allen Robinson needs people around him. He's not the guy who's going to show up and light it up by himself. He's not going to try to make your quarterback look like a stud year after year after year. He, I think, looks at it and goes, I don't want to get hurt. I'm a real talented guy. I'm not trying to go out there and sell out for Justin Fields. So now that he's in L.A.,
nobody wants to sell
I think he's going to show up and see Tyler Higbee and see, oh my God, Cooper Kupp, and he's going to see
Cam Akers
and Matthew Stafford and go out there and be like, listen, boys, I can play. Trust me. And not that OBJ isn't an excellent talent. I think he is. I think Allen Robinson, again, this is for me in my offense, the way I run things, is I look at somebody like Allen Robinson, I see the size, I see the competitiveness. He can catch it over the middle. He's not going to get busted up like somebody like Cooper Kupp could if he got caught with a clean shot from a linebacker. Allen Robinson is that dude. Allen Robinson can also be a red zone target for how tall he is. So don't sleep on Allen Robinson this year. I think he's somebody that could actually help the Rams quite a bit. Now, do they have the Super Bowl hangover? Do they come in ready to rock and roll? Are they trying to repeat? I don't know. Because a lot of times these teams come back and they're ready to repeat. And
are the Rams defense going to be able to stop the monster that's being created in Arizona and Zach Ertz, Connor, Marquise Brown, AJ Green, and DeAndre Hopkins after his suspension?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because my boy Jalen Ramsey's gonna
and
lock
Kyler.
up,
I don't like to study Murray. Sorry,
he's gonna lock up D Hop. Actually, he's
I
gonna
don't know
try
if anybody locks up
to lock up D Hop.
Yeah.
Honestly, though,
he's gonna come back week 6 or week 7 after that suspension, and he's gonna be fresh as shit.
And then the other names that you named off are irrelevant.
Marquise Brown, Zach Ertz, and AJ Green.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to just steady the ship and go 4-2.
I'm saying if they want it, the crown in the NFC West will be in the NFC Championship game. It'll be San Fran or it will be the Rams. in my opinion.
You think Trey Lance is going to get it together?
You just said Trey Lance looked like complete poo-boo.
No, I did not.
What did he say? Oh, no,
Jordan
not
Love.
complete. Yo, no, you said Lance didn't convince you. Was a little shaky.
No.
He did say Lance, didn't he?
No.
I thought it was Lance, but I don't know.
Trey Lance looked fine. Trey Lance looked great.
He said
he
I think
had
he was talking about whatchamacallit.
Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Oh, but you said Love, and then you said Lance, and I'm like,
No, Lance is looking like that dude. I said there are levels, and Lance is on a different one than Jordan Love. No, Lance came out there, and everybody in San Fran has bought in on him. And with them getting old boy and his contract dispute done, Debo, and everybody's happy in San Francisco. Kittle's back, Kittle's healthy, and that defense banging like it does. Be careful, man.
Themselves. They're getting into fights, and they're getting into like 6-man fights in the damn.
Telling you, man, the San Fran's going to be a rowdy team this year.
Oh, and speaking of our buddy OBJ, you hear where he wants to go lately?
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo. He's like, what's your locker look like next? The locker next to you look like Devon Miller.
John's going to be really upset. I mean, really happy when Buffalo doesn't get OBJ. I'm just playing. He wants him badly. And I don't think they need him. I think Gabriel is their guy. I think they can. I think James Cook is going to be a sleeper pick in every league. It should be, because I have no faith in Singletary to do anything.
Oh, you mean Dalvin's little brother as a running back?
Yeah.
So I watched him. He looked a little indecisive in the pro game. He looked like he was kind of having a little bit of struggles in the hole, but I agree. I think if they can make it click for him, or maybe they throw those starters on the Buffalo Bills in that game, you might see a different James Cook.
I mean, you can see him catching balls out of the backfield is what he's doing. You're not going to run him in the tackles, but you're going to use him.
That's what he's built for, is running through the tackles. He's
was
bigger than Dalvin.
But he was better at catching the ball than his own brother.
Well,
at Georgia.
That's okay.
What about Zach Wilson? Do you risk the franchise week 1 to bring him back early, or do you let him sit there and heal?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The Jets have made it clear they think Zach Wilson is the franchise, and they spoke very highly of Joe Flacco, so they're going to let Flacco ride with it. That's what I would do. No. If Zach Wilson is my franchise, you heal, son. You're way too young and way too promising for this franchise, the way they look at it, to come in here and have an injury and us risk you re-injuring that and making it worse. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying right now it's only a bruised bone, so...
Which is great news.
Yeah, it's good news.
I don't
Not
give a
an
shit.
ACL
This could be
MCL.
for It could be for the Saints, the Carolina Panthers, the Falcons. I don't want anybody tearing their ACL, MCL, and being gone for the year. I hate that.
Yeah, the Browns just lost both their centers, their starter and their backup.
That's rough.
So before we go to the NFC South, where I see you. It's like holding back a horse, just waiting to go about the Bucs preseason game. Did you guys see the shitty field at Soldier Field that they played on in Chicago was barely like acceptable for NFL standards?
Isn't that like something Chicago takes pride in?
Not that one though. Even the players didn't want to play on that field.
I know, it's bad. It's bad. Chicago is one of those fields, man. I don't know. I gotta agree with you, and maybe they'll end up doing something because it was so publicly criticized. But I mean, damn.
I don't understand how you make all that money and you can't keep your field.
Well, they're trying to get a new one, so they're trying to make Soldier Field. Like, I don't know. There's some sort of negotiation going on up there.
That doesn't mean you got to treat your current field like shit.
That's what they all do, trying to get a new one.
Yeah.
They're like a little kid. Oh, this one's broken. Let me have a new one. Nah. Keep the stuff you got looking good. Then maybe we'll give you another stadium. How about you bring us a winning football team, then we'll give you another stadium? How about that?
I mean, Chicago is always trying to fight every year. They're always a like scrappy team, but they can't get it together. They don't have anything on that team or in that front office that gives them that edge to put them over the top.
How old is Brian Urlacher? Can he still play?
No, I mean, they have good
Walter
linebackers
Payton's
right
still
now.
around?
Still, Roquan Smith is still there.
Roquan Smith wants out. He requested a trade.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you want that dumpster fire in Chicago?
Listen, it's a different scenario for everybody. If he was getting paid, I'm sure he'd be real happy wearing them Bears
Also
colors.
true. So we're going to go move to NFC South time. Is it time?
Sure.
The number one story in the NFC South.
Tom Brady taking 2 weeks off, even though it's not a story.
No. Baker Mayfield.
Oh.
That's the number one story.
Did he play?
Yeah, he played. Is he the starter?
Yeah, I think he is.
So goodbye, Darnold.
Yeah. I think it should be goodbye, Darnold, because Darnold ain't doing you no favors.
Is that the way to go, though?
Baker went 4 for 7. You know who always does well is this kid P.J. Walker.
Stud backup. That's why one of them's got to go.
He really does come in and do what he needs to do. But you know who didn't?
CMC?
Matt Corral.
I'm sorry. Remember somebody here?
I do.
One of our co-hosts who's been.
It's been 84 years since Clayton has joined us, but he did say that Matt Corral would have a better career than who?
Jalen?
He named somebody.
He named Jalen.
That ain't happening. I'm sorry. Matt Corral, I'm not a believer. You ain't getting my vote, buddy.
Can I just do that real quick? He just ain't that guy. He just ain't that guy.
PJ Walker, he's gotten the nod in actual game time situations. It's just not been the guy
Cam
either.
Went down.
He's just not been the guy.
But he's a good backup. You don't want him to be a starter. You want him to be the backup if shit happens.
You don't want shit to happen. But
well, no, of course not. But so Darnold's gone, so he's got to get traded, right? At that point,
no, because at this point, I mean, they're going to keep him on because they've already made this investment in him. I don't think the Panthers know what they're doing. I think Matt Rule is now officially over his head.
Is he in that fire? Is that seat on fire in Carolina?
Yeah,
it's like burning up. Like
yeah, it is. It is, and I feel bad for the guy because I think he's a great coordinator. I think he's got a great football mind. I think maybe he serves better as a coordinator.
Because I hear the owner's very upset at the money he's shelling out for low end mediocrity at best.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you be?
And now the big story, the Tom Brady. Why are you not going to camp? Besides, you don't need to be there.
First of all, yeah, he doesn't need to show up to camp. He clearly stays healthy and works all off season anyway. So I don't know. I think he's got some personal things he's dealing with, and from what I heard, it was cleared before he ever even showed up to the team. Before he ever even walked back in the stadium, he goes, "Guys, I need this time. I will not be there." And any franchise in this NFL is going to go, "Fine, Tom, whatever."
Do you think it's obsessive for people to want to know the reason why and have it explained to them, and like as if they have a right to know what's going on in his personal life away from football?
I think part of it is because of also the tampering with Miami or whatever it is that went on, that it might be a consequence or something that he was trying to duck or something or other. I mean, this is also the same guy who's behind Deflategate, so
yes,
maybe that's why. But other than that, who cares, man? He's going to show up when it counts.
I think NFL fans and people have conditioned themselves to feel like they're entitled to the inside scoop of these people's lives. You've got Hard Knocks now. Anytime they do anything wrong, it's blasted all over the news. So these people and their teams and their fandom, they feel like it is owed to them to be explained why these players are doing what they're doing. And I got a news flash for you. You fucking don't. Let these guys do what they need to do, live their lives, and leave them the fuck alone. I don't understand where that comes from, but I remember when I grew up watching the NFL, we didn't know all this stuff.
No.
News was not this wild. We had to find out through YouTube and 5 other different sources that Randy Moss was out for straight cash, homie. Like that. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't know stuff like that.
Injury reports came out on Saturday.
Everywhere now.
Right. Injury reports went out on Saturday.
And most of them were bullshit anyways.
Yeah.
There's cameras everywhere now. People, there's social media. You find out things in an instant.
Yep.
That's the difference.
Everybody
now.
I do want to talk
Everybody's a
about the
media
Miami
outlet.
Dolphin shit.
And
by
it's
the way,
funny because,
before
like,
this is over.
me, I've always been like, I don't give a damn what you do, bro. As long as you show up and play on Sunday,
Yeah.
or Monday, or Thursday, or whatever day that y'all gotta play.
Well, let's take a quick break
I don't
because I
care
know
how
we
many
haven't even
right hooks
gotten
your
into the
wife
Bucs
just
game.
ate.
We're going a little long today, but this is the first week of preseason, man. It's back. We're amped. So I'm going to press pause, and we're going to be right back and talk about this game and whatever you want to talk about with
Trash.
Miami. And we're back. Mr. Ryan's got to go to the Wiz Palace. He's going to go punish the porcelain.
The Wiz Palace.
And we're back.
What's up? We're back,
Yes.
and Jack is going to tell me how the Bucs game went in-depthly.
This is one that I definitely I was happy to see my boys, man. Can you blame me?
No.
I was happy to see my boys back on the field, seeing the white on white. God, that uniform looks clean.
Had you watched any sports after the football season was over? You don't like baseball.
I watched the shit out of hockey. I watch a lot of hockey.
That's been gone for a few months now.
It has, but it's actually right around the corner, which I'm excited about too. And
I am not.
Anytime I see boxing on, I like to watch boxing or the UFC. I don't follow the UFC quite as much. I think boxing is a little bit more entertaining.
That Emmanuel Nunez Pena fight was pretty good.
I told you she was going to come back ready to kill.
Bro, you got to give that girl Pena some
For sure.
love. Heart, just dedication.
Yeah.
She got her face rearranged and still stayed in the fight and
told
kept
you, man.
going forward.
Yeah, that doesn't always mean you're a great fighter.
No, but heart. Like,
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So, yes, I have watched a lot of Tampa Bay sports, some hockey, and the occasional bit of baseball. I'll watch some highlights, but it doesn't grab me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Not like Bucks football. I know that for a fact.
Not like football, period. But it was great to see the guys. I had no expectations of any starters seeing the field, especially when the defense took the field. I said, oh, okay, nobody's out there. The only guys that are going to have meaningful plays during the regular season that were out there was Logan Hall.
What'd you see
from Logan Hall?
Yeah, just the defense in general.
I saw the defense flying around. That was good. They did a pretty decent job. The first couple times they had bad situations to try to hold Miami, they did. They went in and they held them to field goals, and then, as people started coming out of the game, as one does, it got worse and worse. Logan Hall didn't do anything to get me to be like, holy shit, this guy is the
first
future.
game, though, right?
Exactly. First game, and he's not sitting next to Vita Vea or Akeem Nicks or Shaq Barrett.
And you don't really want him to do that at this point. You kind of want to rotation him in and out, right? You want
sure.
like the refresher type.
He's going to get the Joe Tryon treatment from last year.
Yeah.
So,
did Mighty Joe play? I didn't watch the game. I was working.
No. None of the defensive starters got
nobody. Carlton Davis,
nope.
none of the above.
None of them even dressed. They were in street clothes on the sidelines. Well, not street clothes.
Who did you see on the defense that was like, okay, you've got some spunk, you got a little something I'd like to see make the roster?
Honestly, Anthony Nelson at defensive end came in and had a great game. He set the tone. He got a sack. He was in the backfield. He's just a great player. He's got a motor that's always freaking going. Other players that really stuck out to me on defense, really nobody that just kind of comes to mind. I like KJ Britt. KJ Britt has an underwhelming stat sheet with a tackle and it was one solo tackle, but he's out there calling plays. And he's doing his thing. I think he's going to be a good backup player. I think he's going to be great on special teams. But, Cam Gill also was another guy who was in the backfield and had a great game, and I didn't expect anything from him. And he went 4 tackles, 4 solo tackles, and a sack, 2 tackles for loss.
What did you see on the Miami side of the ball on offense that you could be like, oh, that looked interesting, or that looked okay, or...
Honestly, their play calling, they moved the ball around quite a bit, and I liked that.
The effect of the new coach, you can tell.
I liked it. I could see by watching it. But it's hard to gauge that when you're in practice with another team all week. So who knows if they'd been running one set of plays all week and then they decided they wanted to do something else on the last day.
But you see it's not a Brian Flores offense and how he wants to do
100%. It was a very different offense. Miami, they got stuff to build on, but again, no Tua. No Tyreek.
No Waddle.
But who you did see was Sony Michel.
Ooh.
I was like, wait a minute. I did not know Sony Michel went over to the Dolphins. He had a terrible game. Two attempts
got traded there last year, didn't he?
2 attempts for -2 yards. So, but they
That's not saying much.
They had 6 guys in the backfield for Miami that game. 1 quarterback though, and their quarterback actually he put on a show. 20 for 28, got 1 touchdown. Skylar Thompson.
No idea.
Yeah. The guys that I know for Tampa Bay, Blaine Gabbert went in with the starters, 5 for 5, 56 yards with a touchdown to Jalen Darden, who has apparently had an amazing camp, had a really good game. And then after that one series, as expected, Gabbert was out of there. Kyle Trask was in.
What was his name?
Kyle Trask.
Oh,
I
I don't
the
know
good,
why I put an H there.
the
all
good,
time.
the bad, the ugly. Okay, with Kyle Trask because he was the story of this game.
Well, all eyes were on him, right?
For sure, because this is year 2. He's looked at as the future. Blaine Gabbert isn't looked at as that. And we know Brady's not going to be here, but for maybe another year or 2.
This is it.
And if he wins the Super Bowl, it's damn sure done. And this is big shoes to fill for Kyle Trask. So the good, the bad, the ugly. The good. He had some great throws. He had some good decision making when he made those decisions. He was efficient.
I'm sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
So when he made some decisions, they were good decisions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just go ahead.
No, but that's the ugly. Is there were times where he was so indecisive, and it led to disaster. That one, which was the pick, which hit the receiver in the hands, hit the running back in the hands.
Oh, don't you go making excuses for him now.
I made him for Jameis too.
Which is gracious.
It hit the receiver in the hands, and the DB fished it out from between his legs and caught that bitch, which it was a super impressive interception. But I can't put that one fully on Trask because as an offensive player, if you're not going to get
Touches
the
your
ball,
hands. That's it.
right? It touches it. You touch it. You got to catch it. Or if you ain't going to catch it, you make sure
sure
no
they don't
damn
catch
body else catches it.
Yep.
So a little bit there, but the fumble was his fault. The fumble. He got swarmed. The offensive line wasn't able to stop him that play, but he should have tucked that ball and either dove for the ground or thrown it away or something. But he was so indecisive and just standing there like, "Ugh," and then he just gets hit. It's a clear fumble.
Did you see progression in Kyle Trask from last season to this season?
100%. You saw a major improvement out of Kyle Trask from last year to this year. 100%.
I mean, we didn't see him in the regular season because, you have Tommy the Great.
And
But,
even if Tommy does go down, you're not going to see Kyle Trask. You're going to see Blaine Gabbert.
Okay.
And that's by design.
But you do see him getting better. So he is soaking up the knowledge that Thomas Brady could give him.
The fact that they gave him a whole game after the first drive by Gabbert says a lot about the trust that they have in him and what they expect out of him. They basically said, this is your game. And at the end of the day, the stat line looks pretty good. He went 25 for 33. One touchdown, one pick, which we talked about the pick. But the indecisiveness, he got sacked twice. Rating is at a 95, which
That's not
for
bad.
a second-year guy coming in against a team that he's played against all week in Miami, which Miami's not world beaters. But
They're technically built to be this year.
they're good. They're good. So to see him come in there and be consistent and complete the passes like he did, that was all I wanted to see. I wanted to see him be able to move the ball. And when it mattered, when it was oh shit time, Kyle Trask walked down the field and put them in the position to win the game.
All right. Now, I know you guys have, like you said, you got the GOAT now. Blaine Gabbert's supposed to be your guy.
Uh-huh.
Nah, man. He's
When
more
he goes
like a
down.
back out.
You got Trask in what was it, third round?
Second round. First pick in the second round.
Second. Okay, so second
He was
round.
our first pick of the second round,
Yeah.
so tail end.
Okay, so a guy that high
No, it was the beginning.
is
traded
expected
for him.
Oh, that's right.
to be your starter, right?
It was on the top of the second round they traded for him.
Like he's your franchise almost essentially.
Sure.
That
Does
okay.
he look like? Do you have faith in him that he could actually do that?
This is the Jalen Hurts argument, but for Kyle Trask.
No, not really, because Jalen Hurts is a starter right now. Jalen Hurts
He was thrown into them. He wasn't supposed
Yeah.
to be, though. He was thrown in because
was.
Wentz was a crybaby little bitch,
I mean, that's what happens. But
which is proven because he's doing it in freaking Washington, too.
I got to say this. I have debated you on Carson Wentz on a lot of different teams. However, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Thank
And
you.
the fact that every team he's gone to, that organization has said that he's a problem. I want to know what the hell's going on with him.
He's, me too.
But to answer your question about Trask, if he goes in right now, do I think the Bucs are going to be a perennial 10, 11 win team and
No.
be the franchise and be that guy right now? I don't know.
Not even that. Like, is this your franchise quarterback?
Hurts was
Did
ahead.
you guys waste that pick?
Oh, no. That pick is certainly not wasted. No way. I think he was deserving of the pick that he got. And with the progression he's shown from last year as a rookie to this game now, I think he's on the path.
I still think he's set for failure because when Tom Brady retires and he steps up, the shoes he's going to have to fill are unfillable.
They're unfillable.
So everyone's going to be expecting something that he may get to, but there's no fucking way he'll be ready by next year.
Okay, because
100%.
You understand what I'm saying?
You can't replace Tom Brady.
You just can't.
Because
Ask
Tom Brady
Belichick.
just showing up instills that winning culture and that attitude that everybody just inherently picks up on. And this year is going to be no different because look at the fact that every other year Tommy has been to the Super Bowl and he's won it. That's crazy. And so the expectations are crazy high. So everybody walking into that Bucs locker room has that mentality right now. And when Trask steps in, they're going to know it's the kid. You're going to see morale drop off for Tampa Bay. You're going to see a lot of these veterans who are coming in like Julio, who are busting their ass day in and day out. If Tom Brady's gone, they may not be so inclined to do that.
Speaking of which, I was talking to some other people, and people were telling me some things about Julio might even be enough and wide and Goodwin moving Godwin. Did I say it right?
Godwin.
I said it right?
Bro, he played for Penn State. How do you not know your freaking receiver?
Playing the slot, and actually Julio might be out gaining Mike Evans.
I don't know.
Never
about that.
happened.
Because he's in the prime shape of his life. They're talking about Atlanta Julio.
There are some people saying that he did, at the expense of the Titans, take that year and get healthy and not take the field, which he should have, but whatever.
He looked the same last year, too. Said the same thing in camp last year, too.
I'm
He had
just
like
saying.
4
man.
catches.
I don't know. There's something Tom Brady brings to the table.
That's the big difference. That's the big difference.
He gets these guys who are like on that tail
buy that,
end.
though.
Look at what he did in Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah, it's a Dominican Sue, but like, I don't buy that
It's
because
Julio Jones.
yeah. Well, no, what I'm saying is I don't buy that because you had a Titans team that was literally they could have stopped a drive there in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, then you get Julio. That should only improve and make it better. So you should be right back in the same position, knowing how you're going to get there is mainly on Derrick Henry's legs, but you also got to be the guy to step up a little bit, and you don't.
But the difference there is exactly
either.
what we're talking about. The difference there is having number 12 in the backfield as opposed to number 11. Tannehill's 11, right?
I don't know what the number
Doesn't
10
matter.
is.
Okay, so it's the difference between the mentality and
Actually,
the
I think it's 10.
attitude that Tannehill brings to the locker room as opposed to Tom Brady.
And Tom Brady, it's been proven, is just a culture changer in any locker room he's been in. He went to New England. Yeah, they had Bledsoe in and out, but once
Bledsoe got injured,
Tommy Terrific took over.
He took it over and took it over.
Like, took over the organization.
And so now this is a real shot. You're right. The Titans, we were sitting in this room crowning the Titans last year.
I was one of the guys that was
saying,
like, the Titans are going to win the
Henry,
Super Bowl.
Julio, A.J. Brown, that defense, Mike Vrabel, you guys are going to kill it. And we saw Julio didn't live up to being Julio. We saw the 2-2 train go down for the first time in forever.
Need a little maintenance.
The difference is the leader that took over when that adversity hit the locker room.
And I think you guys didn't have a tight end last year either.
Yeah. So I think Julio does have a chance to do that. Do I think he outgains Godwin or Evans? No, I don't. Evans is the product.
Maybe not yards, but touchdowns.
No.
Red
Evans
zone.
is the
Not
most
a touchdown machine at all.
Evans is the most consistent wide receiver in the league.
Deep bombs.
With
I agree.
touchdowns.
Big plays, absolutely. But getting into that red zone, that big body, those big hands, they're not going to be able to guard them all.
This is how I can tell you don't watch, because Julio is actually one of the lowest
I understand
touchdown.
But
He was one of those guys where they'd get into a good situation and they would go away from him.
because he's getting double teamed.
Doesn't matter. It's Julio
He's not getting double teamed in the Bucs offense.
Listen.
You have to double team other
Listen
weapons.
to yourself. He made it down the field being double teamed. He's in the red zone double team. You think he's not catching balls?
It's a lot easier when there's only one player on you instead of two. I'm
know.
telling you.
So we're looking
Megatron
at
enters the trap.
I'm looking at the wide receivers here too, by the way, and where people are ranked and where they're going to be sitting in terms of fantasy football. By the way, your boy Cortland Sutton is 28 on that list.
Keep sleeping on Cortland Sutton.
Here we go. We got Russell Gage at 49. I haven't run into Julio yet.
I don't think he
I
had a.
don't
He didn't have a
think-
team. He
I-
didn't have
I-
a team there when they wrote that. He was still a free agent.
I don't think it matters, bro. He's Julio Jones. But I think that, here I am. I'm going into the 90s, and I haven't found Julio yet.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying he's. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I'd love to see Julio come in and show out. He's not even on the list. My son is going to show up and be great that he's on the sideline, but take away guys who have been in this system since they entered the league. Like Evans has been a buck since day one. Godwin's been a buck since day one. They were guys that Tom Brady was texting and working with in the offseason. Those guys aren't going to all of a sudden show up and get usurped by Julio Jones.
You know what? Julio is Geico right now. He is an insurance policy
Yeah.
in case
Who's
something
gonna catch a
happens
lot
to
of touchdowns?
Godwin. Want to put a crispy dollar on that?
That he catches a lot of touchdowns.
That he catches
Gonna
a
have a lot of
fucking
dollars in
dollar,
this
isn't he?
room.
That he catches a lot of passes even.
So what's the bet?
Man.
What's the
Do you
bet?
think Julio goes over 500 yards receiving?
No.
I'll bet that $1 right now.
That he goes over?
500.
Man,
And
that's
I'll bet
easy.
you he
That's
goes
the-
over 10 touchdowns too.
Bro,
That would be
$2
incredible.
bet?
That'd be
Matter of fact, I want a crispy $2 bill for that bet.
So $1 pop.
Dollar pop.
Over 10?
Crispy
No.
$2
Yeah, yeah. I
bill.
love it.
So $2 bill. He's got to go over 500 and catch over 10 or more.
10 or more.
10 is mine.
Yep.
That's
10 is not a push.
10 for
10 is
you is
yours.
being generous.
Yeah, 10 is yours.
Done.
Wow. Hey, I hope you're right.
Oh, I want to be this guy's bookie.
I
bro.
hope you're
He
right,
makes
but I
the
know you're right.
absolute
Right.
worst
If we split 1
bets
and 1, nobody
ever.
wins. If I get over 10 touchdowns and don't get 500
Neither
yards,
one
it's
of
a
those
split.
is happening.
He's
bro.
not going to get 10 touchdowns.
I bet you he will.
He's not. Golly, I hope you're right.
So another big battle.
Another big signing right after that game. Carl Nassib came back to the Buccaneers. Excellent depth signing. Guy who's been here, been in the program. He's got a great motor, just like Anthony Nelson. He will be excellent for that rotation.
Did Hainsey play or Haynes?
I don't think
whatever.
Hainsey played, but I think it was one of you in this room that was telling me that word out of camp is that he is an absolute monster at center.
Mostro. That's monster in Italian.
Gotcha. I've been talking about him since he got drafted. I think Hainsey is going to get plugged in and just be an absolute beast.
I think he'll be good enough to where they don't need to rush Ryan Jensen back from this injury.
I don't think they were going to rush Jensen back, but I think if Jensen does by some chance come back this year, you're not going to see Hainsey hit the sideline. You're not. You'll
He'll
see
just
him
move the guard?
move over to guard, and somebody will hit the bricks.
And then the last big training camp battle is that number 2 running back spot. Keyshawn Vaughn, Rashard White, who I love, and then Gio Bernard, who I think will be number 3 either way.
I don't know how Gio Bernard got the start. I get it. He's
Veteran.
a veteran, but no.
See if he's still got juice in the tank.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I don't think he's a guy who's going to last. He's meant to be a change of pace, pass catching back. But Rashad White going into that game was the guy that I wanted to see. As soon as they started, I was like, I wonder if they're going to start White. And then Keyshawn Vaughn came in second, and I was like, God damn it.
They have to, right? He's another one of those guys.
He's a guy who's
for
been
2
here.
years.
He's been a special teams guy, and he's been good. I mean, he had his first touchdown last year. He was looking all right, but he's another guy who they've said is just not getting the game as quickly as he should. I don't have an opinion on that because we've had Rojo and Fournette. So now you've got Fournette, and I think you're right. I think unless it is a strict passing down, you're going to see Rashad White come in there. You're going to see him possibly spelling Leonard Fournette for some drives to get some carries.
Fournette needs to be on his toes. Every time Fournette gets paid, he goes lax.
Which, by the way, it was all smoke that Fournette was so overweight because he showed up to camp perfectly fine.
No doubt. I agree.
Completely
I
fabricated
agree.
story.
We'll see what happens, but I like Rashad White. You don't take him in the second round to sit him. I think he's going to be a big part of your defense, a big part of your offense, and I like him being the number 2 guy.
Yeah.
I think him and Keyshawn Vaughn stay, and like you said, poor Gio. And I just think that the league has
What if they go out of left field and pick up another running back?
I don't. Why?
And who?
Kareem Hunt.
Why?
Oh, well, that is a good question as to why. But the problem that we won't pick up Kareem Hunt is because he doesn't want to play for Cleveland right now because they're not paying him. And the Bucks are not a team that can afford to pay anybody. We paid Jensen. We paid Carlton. Oh my God,
Davis.
Carlton Davis, and we paid Ryan Jensen, Chris Godwin, Carlton Davis, and Shaq Barrett. We paid a lot of people this season.
And Lenny.
And Leonard Fournette. So
but he's still under contract. All you got to do is give up something.
All I'm saying is
he doesn't want to play on the contract.
Right. And who are we going to give up? People that we just paid guaranteed money to stick with the team?
Unless you're giving them Leonard Fournette and you're going to go dual monster with Rashad White and Kareem Hunt.
That's a true story, but I don't see that being a worthwhile trade for the Bucks.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense either.
It doesn't make sense to trade away a guy who's won us a Super Bowl, and he's been good in our program, and he's been a good veteran presence, and he's produced.
Because this Rashad White guy is Kareem Hunt. He catches the ball really well. He fielded special teams. He had 49 yards.
He's got an NFL rushing title.
Little soon for that.
But you understand? Like I'm talking about
the type of player.
The type of player he can catch the ball. Why would you bring him in? You need a power back like Fournette to alternate the hands.
Did you not
Rashad
watch
White.
Kareem Hunt run?
Yeah, but he's not really a power back per se. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Fournette's a bigger back.
Well, hold on. Of the two in Cleveland, he's not the power back. Chubb's the power back.
He's a change of pace back, but
you already have that in
still
Rashad White.
Runs hard.
He does.
Is my point that I'm making.
He does run hard, and anybody who shows up and plays for the Bucks is going to be a run hard guy. But I agree with Nello's assessment only because, like you're looking at them as 1-on-1 players. What I'm looking at them from is from the Jason Light goggles, where I look at this guy we looked at from Iowa State. We drafted him. We spent second-round capital. We get to pay him rookie money, and he has the intangibles like Kareem. When you get somebody like Kareem who's going to come in and say, listen, I've had a rushing title. I've done this. You should pay me X amount of dollars to come be in the position that, to be quite honest, is not highly as valued as wide receiver or tight end or quarterback as it used to be when it was a running back league. So they're going to take the chance on the kid who's going to come in and do what he can do and have him show himself at a cheaper price. And then if you're going to deal anybody, you'll deal Fournette because you paid him. Then you don't have to worry about paying him. But I still think Kareem is not in a position to come to somewhere like that.
Plus, he's going to the Eagles.
Yeah, see, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
But no, I'm saying, though, it's because you could probably get him for dirt cheap. He's still on his contract.
Yeah.
And if he would have wants to win a Super Bowl, because I'm pretty sure he missed out on the one that he should have won with Cleveland. I mean, not Cleveland, but the Chiefs.
Well, he kicked the woman and dragged her as well,
she,
right? Or
no,
kicked her
he
out of
just
the hotel room or whatever.
Yeah, and it was a
Luke
dumb mistake.
hanged her out of the hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A dumb choice.
Not great.
Given.
Not great.
Speaking of all this suspension shit, let's do this. I know we weren't here 4 minutes. We weren't here for
and
this.
It's never fair because your boy punched somebody. He got 6 games. This kid.
How do you suspend an owner?
A derogatory name that was trying to get kicked out of his room, who was trespassing, and he got kicked out of it for an entire season. And I honestly give Cleveland the most props for saying, you know what, kid's too good and too young.
It was
I'll pick
a
him
cheap
up.
option too.
We'll pick him up.
Cleveland's known to do that. Look at their quarterback.
Yeah. How do you suspend an owner?
You don't allow him in the facility. Now, the question isn't how do you suspend an owner? It's what does suspending an owner do?
Shouldn't he be forced to sell the team?
No.
You want to talk about league integrity?
You can't do that.
You want to talk about they forced what?
How is Dan Snyder still an owner? Who's the kid for the Commanders? Who am I thinking of?
Oh, Haskins or RG3?
Not Haskins. The owner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dan Snyder.
Yeah, Dan Snyder. You're going to kick
Dan
out.
Snyder's a shit heel and he's a womanizer. I'll agree that.
Whoa. So that's not enough?
Alleged.
That's not enough? There's
this guy tried to pay people to lose games.
Pay people.
Head coach,
for
whatever.
his own team.
That should be not cool.
Should be not cool. Sorry to hear that.
I mean, not cool. That should be not allowed. You talk about integrity of the game. You said Calvin Ridley broke the integrity of the game for $1,500. An NFL owner put pressure on an NFL coach to lose games for $100,000 a game.
Okay. Did he full on Cleveland Indians Major League this thing where he made them ride in a broken down bus? Did he force them to call plays they didn't want to call? Did he make them do anything, or did he say, hey, if you lose, I'll pay you this? And they said no. So now he's trying, but it doesn't happen. So no, you can't force him to be out of the league and sell his team. You just can't do it. Especially when somebody like Dan Snyder is there, being an actual dirtbag that all these cheerleaders and all these people that work for the organization have come in and proclaimed that he is. They have this whole big thing about the Redskins that it takes 4 or 5 years for him to even bend on that and change it. And you're going to look at this guy who was going to pay somebody 6 figures to throw the game, and when they said no, he said, okay. And he didn't do it.
And then
Not to mention that the reason he wanted them to lose was because his organization, they're not going to the playoffs.
No.
You don't have a
true.
shot
No, they're
at
not.
winning. Why won't you take the number 1 pick? You know what? I'd rather have a high pick in the draft. Every game you lose, you take the $100,000. Guess what I would have done?
It's one thing.
Hey, call the annexation of Puerto Rico every time we get the ball.
It's one thing to do it and not take a kickback. It's another thing to offer a kickback.
And it not be taken?
Who said that wasn't take? Maybe the coach didn't take it. How do you know a player
Flores
didn't take it?
said he didn't take it.
How do you know a player didn't take it? How do you know
Because
an
a
OC
player
didn't take
doesn't-
it?
How does a player really affect the game? Who was it? The quarterback?
Right. Who's the player that does that?
What if your tackle takes the dive and let's say J.J. Watt go in for the strip sack at the end of the game? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So here's how that scenario plays out. Hey, Ryan, you're the best left tackle on this team. Your job, your namesake, the reason you get paid is protecting that guy right there. You get paid several $1 million a year to protect him.
Heard.
If your quarterback gets his leg broken, we'll pay you $100,000. However, when it's time to resign or you to go to any other team, that's going to affect your future. So, hey, take a dive because we really want to get that left tackle coming out of Texas next year.
Hold on. So you want me to trade 1 comma for 2? Nah, I'm good, fam.
Exactly. That's how that conversation goes, especially because that player gets that conversation, and then it's out there in the wild, brother. Then
Do you
go
think
to
Calvin
these players.
Ridley should be suspended for a year for
Yes.
$1,500 when this goddamn owner? Excuse
Okay,
me, I
listen,
shouldn't have said that.
yes.
this damned owner
Yes.
is fixing games on the inside, and you know
Yes.
what? That excuse, but written by a lawyer, is so freaking lame.
Yes.
So there wasn't enough evidence to find the fact that Flores said that, but the owner in the next paragraph or bulletin board was very adamant about draft position. Give me a freaking break, Roger Goodell.
Hey, he can
Get
still
your
win
shit
draft
together.
position. He can't prove that he said it. This is America.
Exactly.
He allegedly did it. Now, too.
Same shit with damn Robert Kraft. Same shit with everybody. It's all about the owners, and if you're a big boy and a big fish, you get to do whatever the hell you want, and that's bullshit.
Okay,
To quote the
Robin
great Wu-Tang, cash rules everything around me. Dollar bills, y'all. They're fucking rich. What do you expect? And 2, Ridley, how do you not know better? Ever heard of a guy named Pete Rose?
He bet on his team, damn it.
Ever hear a guy
doesn't
named
matter.
Pete Rose? Who's supposed to be, should be in the Hall of Fame, but guess where he's not?
Yeah, but there's a lot of other things with Pete Rose that aren't even coming up anymore.
Betting on yourself, though. You should know better.
Here's the thing that bothers me. Like, I agree with Ryan. You know the rules. I want to bet $1,500 on my birds to win a game. Ryan, go make this bet for me.
Here's the thing. Why? What's $1,500 to tens of millions every year? Like,
Maybe his wife gives him a cap, and that's his cap for the week.
if my wife
girlfriend,
gave me a
whatever.
cap for getting up and going into my job, I don't deserve any money because I am.
Well, gambling isn't his job.
But he's making millions of dollars a year. They're handing out $90 and $100 million contracts. What the fuck do I care about $1,500, bro?